Hi, Smita. Thank you for coming here.
Hi, Mohit. Thanks for having me. Very excited about this.
Same, likewise. So, to give a general introduction about Smita, Smita is a lawyer and technologist who is working as part of OpenNyAI from the Agami team. And Smita, uh, so welcome to this edition of our interview on OpenNyAI. And I just want to get started with a very, basic introductory question. Can you tell what OpenAI is and what exactly does it do?
Sure, thanks, Mohit. So OpenNyAI is actually a combination of open and nyai, and how we say it is NYAI because we're trying to focus on open sourced AI models and AI solutions that can really empower and enable access to justice for many, many more citizens than currently actually get access to justice. So the intention of the initiative, as it started exactly 2 years ago, was that we bring together a community of lawyers and technological experts into the same room so that they're able to speak with each other, understand each other's language. We break the silos of lawyers not understanding how technology can aid them. We make it more efficient, their processes, whereas technologists who are building for lawyers without actually knowing what to solve for. So we definitely noticed this silo between these two communities, and the intention was to build this ecosystem, a coherent ecosystem where people could collaborate, work together, speak each other's language, and just really rich solutions could come out of there. Rich solutions and rich ideas. Along with that, we are focused on this community building part of it. And the second lever that we work at is we've identified that in order to get more solutions out there, there needs to be a layer of foundational building blocks of technology that needs to be available for everybody. What this layer of foundational building blocks does, it lowers the barrier for innovation for anybody who wants to enter the space, right? Whether it's a startup, it's a research group, it's a law student, it's a tech student, they just want to understand really what's happening in the space. And then build on top of it. So what these foundational building blocks do is they're entirely open source. So think your entity recognition for Indian judgments, right? Being able to actually understand what paragraphs or what sentences in a judgment are facts, arguments, what is the lawyer name, judge name, court name, so on and so forth. So just being able to get this metadata out, creating a model for this, which is specifically trained on Indian legal data. Now that really helps for your research groups who want to conduct any specific inquiry on which sections of the Income Tax Act are the most litigated upon. In order to do that, you need to go through massive amounts of judgments, massive amounts of cases, and then be able to distill all of that information that you say that they've read into, okay, 4,500 cases, for instance, were litigated upon Section 32 in 50 years, leading to 50 dismissals, 30 appeals, whatever it might be. So just getting those raw numbers and then the actual insight that they give you into the justice system, that is immensely powerful. And I think without anything, and that's what we say at OpenAI, right? And I'll end with this. Anything that you want to build which requires a lot of humans is very complex, is scalable, and can be done over and over again, in the sense that it's so mundane that you need to keep repeating it, right? If it has all of these sort of ingredients, AI can possibly almost always help you. OpenAI is a collaborative mission, which started out with many members, Agami being, of course, one of them, along with ThoughtWorks, which is the data science organization and providing the technical backbone to the entire mission. We have Step and leading scientists from that institution. We have National Law School Bangalore and the Rohini Nilekani Philanthropies. So these were sort of the members that started the mission, and now we're very rich. We are 100 plus members, rich community of organizations now.
Wonderful. Um, Thank you. I definitely remember reading about this, and I've also mentioned this as part of the new blog article, which is going to come out on OpenAI soon. Uh, coming to the second question, can you give us like one or two examples of what kind of work are you doing at OpenAI?
Yeah. So, what we've been really focusing on, at least starting from November last year when ChatGPT came up, how can you really really take advantage of generative AI and everything that it offers for the legal space. It is a big leap of trust and faith that the legal community has had to show when it comes to just accepting information that is coming out of nowhere, seemingly, right? So we've been trying to see how can you use a lot of data, and the legal industry, thankfully, the legal industry has a lot of structured, a lot of data, right? How do we use that to give the results that people need? So we've been trying to do a lot of use case analyses to try and understand what are the different kinds of needs and priority areas for NGOs, for courts, for government departments, for law firms, for lawyers in general, practicing lawyers, law schools. So just really identifying different stakeholders and what are their really pain points today. So something we've identified and what has actually resulted into Jugalbandi is that there is a need to be able to have a conversation in your own language. And just that ability to gain information in your language and then being able to use it to access justice and actually get the information you need, whether it be about government schemes, how can I update my Aadhaar card, how can I apply for Ayushman Bharat, all of these things, they're so real for people, and the information barrier is so high. You go on a website today and there's just a barrage of information coming your way. How do you sift through that to really make sense of it the way you want it to? So we've really tried to categorize this problem as an information retrieval problem, as an information extraction problem, and try to see whether we can create a chatbot in which you're able to have a conversation in Hindi, Tamil, Telugu, Odia, any of the 22 constitutionally recognized languages, and then just be able to give a problem statement that I'm a farmer, मुझे tractor खरीदना है, मेरे लिए कोई scheme है जो मेरी मदद कर सकती है, right? So once you do that, you receive an answer in voice as well. This is one example of government schemes which has sort of taken the caught a lot of people's attention. But what it also allows is specific querying on the Domestic Violence Act, on Motor Vehicles Act. So we built some of these demos and reference solutions for different departments, for the Delhi High Court, for Karnataka High Court. We are really working on Jiva. So Jiva is Judge's Intelligent Virtual Assistant, which again uses large language models, generative AI capabilities, along with identifying one of the biggest pain points of lawyers, which is a comprehensive place where they can find out the entire law. If, for instance, they want to understand the Indian Penal Code, seeing all the variations, various amendments that have come into IPC, seeing that over the years in one place, and then being able to instantly get Section 3 read with Section 5. Read with Section 10, right? So just that ability to read laws together is such a crucial one, which takes up a lot of time for judges. And what we've realized, and we've been speaking with judges from the Karnataka High Court especially, and they articulated that in just to find out the law applicable for a given case and to find it and read through it in a courtroom, it takes about 5 minutes per case. And if for approximately, if they're doing 20 to 30 cases, that's more than an hour per day that they're spending on just information retrieval, right? If you want to put it technically. So these are some of the things that we've been playing around with. How can we aid government departments, government schemes, judges get quick access to documents, really synthesize legal processes, essentially.
Makes sense. I recently I'm not. It's just because you mentioned about Jugalbandi and how learning using AI to give access with learning language models or large language models algorithms. I recently read a interview. I saw an interview with Sundar Pichai, and there he mentioned that how AI always have this sort of black box that they are not exactly sure how it does it, but it does it. And so they realized that even Google Bard, which was recently launched, when they gave a few prompts in Bengali, even though the Bard was not trained in Bengali, after a few prompts, it completely understood, and started translating into and giving outputs in Bengali. And so now they are not exactly sure how it happened, like how the AI adapted, but now they are sort of working to make Bard available in, I think, over 1,000 languages. Just something interesting I read recently. I just wanted to let you know.
Yeah, no, that's so cool. And you know how that happens? Nobody really knows how generative AI is generating stuff, right? And I was watching this interview with Sam Altman, the CEO of OpenAI, and one very interesting thing he said was that when you go to school as a kid, right, you're just learning maths and like maybe spelling and grammar and science, and then the next year you start maybe studying civics and history, and the next year you start studying geography. What happens is that your brain just starts expanding more and more, right? When you start studying maths more in detail, you suddenly understand history better, right? Because your cognition increases. So that's exactly what's really happening with the machine, but we don't really have a way of articulating it as yet.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are afraid of this because uh, historically with technology, it's like you develop something and you know how it's working. Now with this new, AI environment, it's like we have a good idea about how it's working, but we don't exactly can pinpoint how it works. And so that is what I think scares a lot of people about, oh, what's the future of AI going to be?
You
uh,
know, I think a good safeguard there is just employing some responsible AI practices. And what we're learning, and something I read recently, which was very interesting, is there are more than 20 plus frameworks for responsible AI practices in the world, and none of them talk to each other. None of them are congruent. One is saying XYZ, the other is saying ABC. And as a manufacturer of an AI service or an AI product, I can just rely on either to sort of justify my stance, right? And what they do is they don't really even give you any practical insights into, okay, you failed this framework, you failed this metric, now how do I apply some ethical practices into my building and to my making practices? There's nothing available. So I mean, of course, there's a lot of stuff on the internet, but really practical advice on how to apply it, that's really missing. And we're definitely in OpenAI also focusing on while we are building out. So one of our biggest ambitious projects right now is building out a large language model for Indian legal text in India. And so you have a chat GPT. What if you have a legal GPT, right? And while we build it out, we're crowdsourcing some data. We're definitely trying to employ all those responsible AI practices and sort of learn from our own mistakes and then put it down to paper and be like, okay, this is how we did it. Can somebody, help us make it better? This is one way of going about it. So I feel like the real value in social entrepreneurs utilizing this technology comes in, because they are the ones who will actually tell you where it's failing, how it's failing, and how to make it better.
mm. Yeah, definitely very interesting. But coming back to the questions we have today, otherwise we might get like slightly sidetracked. So the third question that I have is how can people use or benefit from OpenAI?
Right. So when it comes to benefiting from it, I think definitely join the community. We are a very open group of people, always willing to get more people in, and we're always doing some gatherings. We have OpenAI learning circles, which we do very regularly, almost on a monthly, quarterly basis, where we try and bring the entire community to discuss what's new, what are the new developments in the area. So that's a good space to just really come in, absorb, see what's happening, what the people involved. Second is we have something called OpenAI Labs, where just imagine like a scientific lab in school where you're just working alongside your peers, building something up, learning from each other. So just imagine that for AI for law. And we have a lot of interesting folks, startups, entrepreneurs, researchers, journalists, who've really come together and trying to build stuff out in that way. We also have in the next couple of months an OpenAI residency coming up, which will be an in-person coming together of entrepreneurs, innovators working in this area and just really hacking it out, right? Like it's a hackathon, it's a residency of 5 days. So just come and build together. So you can find details of that on our LinkedIn, on our website. And yeah, just shoot us a mail and we're very happy to figure out on how you can contribute to the community and contribute to the space. And when it comes to using OpenAI, all the models that we've built in the last 2 years, they're all up. They're all, of course, open sourced, published under the CC by 4.0 and MIT license. They're available on our GitHub page, which is, again, totally open, available on our website. So yeah, if there are any questions on how to use it, etc., very happy to talk about that as well.
Wonderful. Thank you. I think that's definitely very helpful. Now, in the last question I have, is how do you see the future of AI being impacted by OpenAI? Or let's keep it in India.
Yeah, yeah. That's a big one, because what we're doing right now, OpenAI is it's a snowball effect, right? We have every single day we talk to somebody new, we meet somebody new, we try and espouse those principles of openness, collaboration, transparency, inclusivity. And these are the principles we build with, we interact with, we engage folks with. So what we're really hoping is more and newer ideas come out, more innovation happens in the legal and justice space in the country. We have the unlikeliest of stakeholders, right? People really on the grassroots. We have social entrepreneurs coming in and adopting AI practices to make their workflows more efficient, make their lives smoother. We have solutions coming up in sign language, in tribal languages. We want solutions coming up in online dispute resolution. We want solutions for digitization of courts. How can you make those processes easier? So we are really trying to penetrate different areas of the ecosystem which are ready for some amount of digitization, some amount of technical efficiency. So definitely, I think the future, the next 5 to 10 years, is very bright in that it will really unlock human bandwidth and productivity. And I'm not talking about OpenAI in itself, but the entire ecosystem, right? The idea of AI really coming in and the idea of AI really coming in and making processes smoother for your lawyers, your technologists, and yeah. So I feel like the future is bright, and it really hinges on a lot of collaboration and a lot of community work that we do today.
Wonderful. I definitely see the future of AI growing with the kind of support OpenAI is offering to, entrepreneurs. Uh, I mean, even the AWS challenge is something very exciting. And I remember at the ODR forum, now I'm also working on something, but I would rather not discuss it in this interview. Yeah, is there
I already
anything
know what you're working on, Mohit, but
I know
okay.
you are, I know you. But is there something you would like to tell our, viewers as closing words before we end this interview?
I think that's a great note to end it on, actually. We're always at OpenAI, we're always doing some challenge, some makeathon, some residency, some lab or the other. So would love for anybody to always reach out to us. We also have the Jugalbandi API, which we have released on our GitHub as well. And yeah, we're always looking to build more solutions, work with partners, and yeah, so just a shout out to you for doing this and for spreading the good word. And yeah, hope to meet new people through this.
Yeah, same here. Thank you, Smita, for taking out time for this. And yeah, thank you for being here.
Thanks for having me. Bye, Mohit.